live at Zaxby's. I'm Ellis, he's Corey Davis, and we're here, Corey, to recap week 1 of high school football. Man, what an exciting time it was here in Northeast Florida.
We had awesome and great games in high school and middle school. What better way to start the season? And we have 5 really huge games in high school to talk about, and we had several key important games in middle school actually to talk about too.
Lots of big games, lots of big time players that we're going to talk about. But you know what? Not just players, not just game, but coaches, right? Man, some great coaching efforts in week 1 of high school football, but none of them match up to being the best of all time. And we had that poll on DuvalSports.com this summer, right?
Right, we had 32, I think we had 32 of the top high school coaches of all time. And the great thing about this was multiple sports. This was not just football and basketball. We had baseball, we had softball, we had wrestling, we had boys and girls soccer, girls basketball, boys basketball. So this was volleyball. I think we had volleyball too, I think. So we had multiple sports covered in this 32 coaches bracket, best of the best.
Man, it was a compelling bracket, and there could only be crowned one coach, right? One best coach of all time. And the championship was between Jim Reed, wrestling coach out of Clay, and Roddy Pruitt from Union County and University Christian.
Yeah.
So talk about that matchup, man. Kind of a weird matchup, wrestling against football. Reed went pretty far, right?
Kind of had David and Goliath in this kind of matchup there. I was surprised that Reed was able to go so far in the brackets. Coach Reed does a tremendous job, Clay High, with the wrestling program there. They're probably the second best public school wrestling program in the entire state behind Brandon. And Brandon's not only are they a state power, but they're a national power. They had, you know, like people always talk about the team out there in California that had the long football wrestling,
right?
I mean, the wrestling football streak,
right?
Well, Brandon had like 150 consecutive matches straight. But anyway, so that lets you know on the kind of level Clay has. So Union County, Coach Pruitt, won 8 state titles. Tremendous job at both schools, and so yeah, it was tough competition. I mean, we had Coach Welch from Reebok in there, we had Coach Austin from Reebok in there, so lots of quality coaches. And when it came down to it, we finally had our final 2 matchup.
Finally had our final 2, and we could only pick one. And so the fans voted. The fans voted for Coach Pruitt.
Coach Pruitt
as the best high school coach of all time. He even beat out the legendary, the man, right? The myth, Corky Rogers. So,
well, what sets them apart is, yes, Corky won 10 state titles, I believe. Corky only won those titles at bowls. Had he won a couple of those titles at Lee, they would have, to me, would have been a little more impressive. What Coach Pruitt did is he won 4 at Union County and 4 at UC. So he won just as many titles as he did at a public school as he did at a private school. So that's why I'm not surprised he won, because how many coaches can say they won multiple titles at a public school and a private school? And it's so harder to win a state title at a public school.
So we want to congratulate Coach Pruitt, and thank you for everybody that voted. Over 50,000 people voted, 50,000 votes in the total one.
Every year
amazing.
We've had this for 2 years. Last year we had the best football team of all time, and it was crazy. We get emails, we get people on Facebook hitting us up. My team should have won, my coach should have won. So shout out to all the small towns, Lake Butler and Stark and everywhere else in between. Green Cove for voting for Coach Reeve, and you know, stay tuned for part 3 is all I can say.
Well, part 3 is coming. Part 3 coming. Best of the best. A DuvalSports.com staple, and we're so thankful that you joined in. We've got a great show planned for you, so stay tuned. We're going to recap high school, recap middle school, preview youth football that's coming up, preview week 2 in high school, and preview some middle school as well, right here on the Press Box Show. DuvalSports.com. We're here at Bishop Kenny with Bishop Kenny's leading server, Cameron Finner. Cameron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
You had a great game tonight against Revolt. You had 21 serves. Just talk about the performance tonight.
I think we did really well as playing as a team, and we just focused on the basics and got that down, because once we get the basics down, we can do much greater things.
7 kills tonight, big time play on the court. Just talk about what was going through your mind making all those kills tonight.
Well, as serve so far, I just really focused on keeping it in, doing the toughest serve I could, just increasing my play to be a better volleyball player.
14 assists. Your teammates really, rely on you to be a team player. Talk about what it means to you to be a team player.
It means a lot to me to be a team player, because I'm all about being one, family, friends. So when we work as a team, it's great because we work as a unit, and it's just amazing because we play better. We really smack the ball down, like perfect plays every time. It's just amazing.
Talk about the season so far. Of course, it's early, but what are you seeing out of your team that makes you very, very happy and optimistic?
What I see is that we have a lot of improvement to do, which is good because we're pretty good now, which means we can get way better, which means once we get to the top, we're gonna get there, and it's gonna be a good season for us.
All right, Cameron Finner, thank you so much, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Corey, high school football, week 1 in Northeast Florida. Really, really exciting. And if you go to the website, duvalsports.com, you'll see a rundown of week 1 action. And Corey, I love what you put in the week 1 notebook. Down goes Reigns and Trinity. Wow.
Yeah, that was 2 of the heavyweights that went down in week 1, which is very surprising. Reigns obviously losing a very intense battle with Lee, which now has become kind of a rivalry game now between those 2. And Trinity, which you were at the Lee Reigns game, and then I was at the Trinity game, and Trinity lost a really good dogfight with Coco, 2 of the best teams in the state. So, yeah, it's a tough week for Reigns and Trinity, but this is why you look forward to week 2 and all the way to week 15.
Let's talk about the game that you went to. Trinity fell to Coco. You picked Trinity in the game. What did you see in that game that kind of surprised you? Did it? Of course, it didn't turn out the way that you thought, but what was the difference?
We knew that Trinity's offense would struggle because they lost so many weapons on offense last year. We knew how good their defense was, so none of that shocked me. We knew that the offense was going to struggle. That didn't surprise me, and it did Friday. They got down 10-0 right before half. I think what surprised me was Coco is up 10-0 with 10 seconds left before the half, and Tyreek Johnson takes the ensuing kickoff back 89 yards. And that kind of swung the momentum into Trinity's favor, because then Trinity got the ball to receive the 3rd quarter and goes right down, scores the first drive, and now it's a brand new game. Where the first half you thought, wow, Coco might blow them out. Now it's a good game. The first half was so boring. Dre, we had 4 touchdowns in the 3rd quarter. We had 28 points in the 3rd quarter. It became a track meet. What surprised me was how well Trinity was able to throw the ball. Wow. They kept running the ball, suckering the Coco defense into the running game. And about every couple plays on the drive, each drive, they'd pop a pass. And they left Isaiah Washington wide open. He caught 3 balls, 2 touchdowns for like 123 yards. Austin Thomas, the quarterback, was 3 for 4, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns on the entire game. Wow. So the difference in the game was a turnover. Late in the game, it was back and forth in the 3rd quarter. The final score was 24-21. Trinity had the ball, and they kept making mistakes. And in the 4th quarter, they kept making mistakes. Coco took advantage of it, was able to kill the clock.
So Trinity starts out 0-1. They have a big matchup next week. Of course, we're going to preview that game coming up. I'll talk about Reigns and Lee, a very packed game, a very anticipated game. You know, if you saw the highlights on DuvalSports.com, you see it was packed. They had to turn people away. A great atmosphere for football. Both teams start out with jitters, nervousness, making mistakes, not really moving the ball really good. 0-0. Reigns actually started moving the ball late in the first quarter. You know, Ivory Durham the fourth was able to get some yards with his legs. Reigns got on the board, 3-0. But let me tell you, Lee can explode just like that, just like a cannon, right? You know, they blow that cannon every time they score. They can score just like that, or they can move the ball just like that. Because, I mean, right after Reigns scored, I mean, Derrick Jones just took him right down the field. You know, with his legs, with his arm. You know, they were able to score, and it was, man, it was just a game of big time plays, but some hard hitting, man. I mean, some very physical football, especially by Lee. I mean, hats off to Coach Smalls, everybody over there. Let me tell you, man, they were bringing the wood, man. So, but you know, in the end, Reigns had a chance to win the game. They were driving late, but a big hit by a 9th grader, Robert Simmons, who at Zaxby's, right? We picked the top 50 in middle school football last year, and Robert was one of the people that we chose. So, and he made the play of the game, separating the ball from the Reigns receiver, and the game was over. I mean, they took a couple knees, and the game was over. You know, Lee was victorious. So they get revenge in the backyard from last year. It was funny because you see on Twitter they were talking about how, you know, no falling grills can save you this year, right?
Oh yeah,
that was crazy last year. So a big win for them, and so Reigns looks to rebound next week, and Lee looks to move on. Let's talk about some other games. Rebound and Sandalwood, man, what a compelling game out there between the Saints and the Trojans.
I was really stunned by that score because I thought Rebound has one of the most potent offenses in the area. They've got the best receiving core and the quarterback, and I thought they would, because Sandalwood lost everybody on defense and offense too. I thought Rebound might be able to expose them, but apparently Sandalwood held their own, and it came down to a game-deciding play.
Wow.
What a comeback by Sandalwood. I believe Rebound was up 14-0 that game. And Sandalwood scored with 20 seconds to go, and the news was there showing the highlights, and they showed Coach Geis huddling up with his quarterback and the offense coordinator, and like, should we go for 2 or not? What do you think? And they're like, of course you go for 2. You're at home. You go for the win. You don't kick the extra point. And they put the ball in their quarterback's hand, Kyle Smith's hands, and I'm sorry, not Antonio Clary. Yeah. And I think he ran a little jet sweep to the left, and came up a couple yards short.
A big stop by that Reebok defense.
Nick,
on like the 1-inch line, man.
Yeah.
Nick Gardner, wasn't it?
Nick Gardner with the game-saving tackle. And then, of course, Reebok was able to take a knee, game over. So, yeah, that was a low-scoring. If you like defense, that was definitely the game to go watch.
I told you in the preview it was going to be a close game. We never lay down over there at Sandalwood, but I knew Reebok was going to win. Big win for the Trojans, though. They've got a big game coming up next week. Fleming Island over Clay. Emphatically, what happened?
What did I tell you? This happens every year. These two, Clay's always the better team, but Fleming Island always finds a way to beat them. And it's like, I don't know for sure, and I've been to this rivalry, I don't know if Fleming gets up for it more than Clay does. Maybe Clay goes in there with the mentality, we're already going to beat this team. Kudos to Coach Sprung's, Damian Springs at Fleming Island for pulling the upset again. And maybe this springboards them into having a very successful season, and maybe now you gotta think maybe they might be a contender for a playoff spot.
Corey, what are some other games that really surprised you in week one? One for me was Bishop Kenny over Fletcher.
Yeah, that was shocking.
That was a shocker to me. I mean, Fletcher looked really good in their kickoff classics. They have a big team, a fast team, lots of athletes. But they fell to Bishop Kenny. Was that more Bishop Kenny being a better team, or was that more Fletcher not being ready for the task at hand?
A little of both. Bishop Kenny is really good, and I heard someone on the radio last night talking about Bishop Kenny, and they said, this team's under the radar because everybody's talking about bowls trending and Palm Beach in that district, where Bishop Kenny might have went into the game like feeling kind of disrespected. Fletcher, on the other hand, I was talking to one of the coaches, and he said, we basically came on the field thinking we already won the game. They weren't ready to play.
Classic.
They already thought they won the game. We don't have to do anything. Well, Bishop Kenny proved to them that you have a lot to work on. And kudos to Bishop Kenny for the win there. Some of the other games that stood out were we had a couple teams with losing streaks, and two of them came to an end. Ridgeview goes up to Main Street and takes on Jackson and beats them 53-0.
Wow.
Ridgeview had lost 18 in a row going into that game. And then the other streak that ended, which was even more impressive than the Ridgeview streak, was Creekside. Creekside at home beats Winter Springs 48-21. Creekside had lost 22 in a row.
Wow.
Going into that game.
Wow.
So now that streak's over. So now which team has the current longest losing streak?
Wilson.
The Andrew Jackson Tigers.
Oh, Jackson. Oh,
Jackson
man.
has now lost 20 in a row.
Oh,
and this streak dates all the way back to 2014. So hopefully the Tigers can end the streak. No, actually, Wolfson stopped their streak last year.
Yeah, they did.
So did Inglewood. So we had a couple of those teams that were on losing streaks in last year. So, Creekside and Ridgeview stood out. Also, we got to talk about the game of the week on ESPN.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Bartram goes up to Cartersville, Georgia.
They were down 28-10.
That quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, we had a correspondent up there, a Duval Sports correspondent, Aaron Jones, and he tweeted out, he said, that quarterback is the real deal. The guy just completely shredded Bartram Trail on running, passing. He had 400 yards passing, 5 touchdowns in the game. They had 400 yards in the first half. Amazing.
Yeah, he shredded that defense. When I was watching the game, you're like, where's the secondary at? Where's the safety at? Because these guys were wide open. Every single pass, they were gaining like 30 yards. But they were down 28-10, pretty much on the verge of having a running clock on them. And they scored, I think, right before half, to cut it to like a 2-score game, or 3-score game.
Yeah.
And then third quarter, the momentum kind of switched, and Bartram made some defensive adjustments, shut down the high-powered Cartersville offense, and the offense started clicking. And next thing you know, it goes from 28-10 to 28 all. And at that point, it became whoever had the ball last.
Yeah. I believe it was 45-45, and a big-time comeback by Bartram. And of course, the game comes down to one play. And we always talk about this. Of course, I've brought this up in the past. If you have two quarterbacks, and the game comes down to one play, who do you put in the game? And Coach Sutherland had that decision to make, and he chose Smith. Do you agree with the decision? Yes or no? You do? Why?
We will agree to disagree on this matter, because putting him at quarterback, you know exactly what we're going to do.
You're saying Smith or
the
Gatewood?
offense changes when he's a quarterback.
You're saying who? Gatewood?
Between Smith and Gatewood.
The offense changes when who's in?
When Smith's in the offense, they're a little more 50-50 offense of running and passing. When Gatewood's in the game, it's more, you know, he's going to take off and run. So, on that last play, I agree with the call because the ball was going to Gatewood. It wasn't like they were going the opposite way to Gatewood. They put Gatewood at receiver, and the defensive back pushed him out of bounds. And then Riley kind of panicked because Gatewood wasn't open, and I guess couldn't find anybody else open, so he took the sack. Worst case, he should have just thrown the ball in the end zone and tried to create another something else happen, a Hail Mary type of play. The worst thing you want to do is sit there and take a sack and not even give your chance an opportunity to win that game. So they weren't going for their best player. He got taken out of the game.
He got taken out of the game, in my opinion, because he's not a wide receiver. Like you said, he's a runner, but he can pass the ball too. He had some very nice passing plays. He had a passing touchdown. He had 190 yards passing, I believe. So he can throw the ball. But I think he got taken out of the game when he got taken out of his position. I tell you all the time, you don't take Tim Tebow off the field. You don't take the ball out of his hands. Fourth down. You don't take the ball out of Vince Young's hands.
Right, but this is where it's different. Tebow never played receiver. Joey plays receiver when Riley's playing quarterback.
He's forced to play receiver because...
No, he's not forced. He's that good. He's that good of an athlete that he can play receiver.
But he's better at quarterback. We would agree on that.
And in college, when he goes to Auburn, if he goes to Auburn, he may not be a quarterback. He may end up being a receiver.
Oh no, they drafted him to be the new Cam Newton.
We'll see.
They've got a big test coming up next week. There's some other really big games coming up that we're going to preview next on the Press Box Show. So stay tuned with us, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Bishop Kenny linebacker Michael Munder, your Week 1 Defense Player of the Week. Must-have received this honor from DuvalSports.com, and I can assure only good things coming from here.
And we're back on the Press Box Show. I'm Andre Ellis, he's Corey Davis. It's time to preview some of the big-time games in high school football right here in Northeast Florida. We've got some of the best players, some of the best football teams, some of the best coaches, and we've got some really good action coming up, Corey. So let's get right into it, man.
All right.
But before we get into it, man, how did you do last week with your picks?
Not too good. We have a media kind of pick 'em started this year, and I finished in 6th place of 6 people.
Oh man! Oh.
I was 5-7.
It's okay.
Hey, it's okay because you finished 5th.
5th?
You finished 5th.
No, man, that can't be right.
I was 5-7. You were 6-6.
Man, let me go on the website and check this out.
Shout out to Mike Rideout for winning this past week. He was an amazing 10-2 this week.
Oh, Mike.
Marty Palmer and Josh Wilson were second with 8. They were 8-4.
We're coming for y'all. All right.
Things will change this week.
Bouncing back. And if you want to vote, you can go to DuvalSports.com, leave a comment, give us your picks as well. All right, we're gonna give you ours now. Come on, Corey. Let's show them who's gonna win.
All right, our first game we got surprisingly Bishop Kenny beat Fletcher last week. They go on the road and play Atlantic Coast, which is coming off a very close rally from their arch rival Munder Mustangs. So Bishop Kenny and Atlantic Coast. I like the way Bishop Kenny played last week. Surprisingly, beating Fletcher so bad. I think Bishop Kenny wins that game.
I'm gonna go with you. Atlantic Coast, I picked them to beat Mandarin. They made it close, but they've got some more things to work on over there at Atlantic Coast. I picked Bishop Kenny too.
And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm writing down who's so that way Andre, because Andre's notorious for winning. No, I didn't pick that team.
Yeah.
So I'm writing it.
Watch the tape.
I'm writing it down as we speak. So, second game, Ed White of Baker County. Ed White with the big win over West Side last week. Baker County with the tough loss to St. Augustine. I think the Wildcats bounce back. I think they are for real. Not sold yet on White. Now, if White beats Baker County, then we got a different story. But I feel Baker County should win this game.
Great story about Ed White's victory over Westside on the website by BJ Jones. you know, Stewart, great running back, but Baker County is going to want revenge after that loss. Baker County.
All right. Game 3, Bowles was off last week. They had the week off because of a scheduling conflict, so they open at home this week against a very good Deltona team. Deltona made the playoffs last year. Or sorry, they did not make the playoffs, but they were like 7-3 last year. So Deltona's a really good team. A lot of question marks with this Bowles team because they lost so many good kids on offense. But the defense is good enough to win some games until the offense starts clicking. Athletically, Deltona can match up with anybody, but I feel like Bowles, I'm going to give Bowles the edge since Coach Belcher's still there, and they have a good defense.
Bowles has had 2 weeks to prepare for this. They're going to roll. Next, we got Sandalwood at Fleming Island. Wow, a big-time game out there in Fleming.
The one thing we know about this is there's 2 good defenses in this game.
Yes. 2 great defenses. Sandalwood's looking to rebound after that tough loss. Coach Geiser kicked the extra point this time, I'm sure. But I don't think it's going to be an extra point. I think Fleming's going to score at least a touchdown ahead, and I'm going to pick Fleming.
You're going against the wood.
I'm going to go with the Rock. You know over there.
Are you feeling it?
I know, right?
All right.
That's 2 weeks in a row, man. Crazy.
Like I said, great defensive teams here. Fleming Island really surprised me by not them beating Clay, but how bad they were able to beat Clay. Sandalwood has a great defense, but their offense is still young. So right now, I give the edge to Fleming Island, so I'm going Fleming Island. All right, we got Munder going on the road to Tallahassee to play Godby. Traditionally, Godby's been a very solid team. It's always tough to play in Tallahassee. You got all home cooking with the referees out there. I think that's a tough assignment for a very young Mandarin team, which barely got by Atlantic Coast last week. I like Godby's chances in this one.
2 teams, 2 different classifications. Mandarin, of course, is in 8A. I think Godby is 4A, 5A. A significantly smaller school. But I'm going with Godby. I think they're going to have too much talent for Munder to handle.
All right, now we're moving on to probably on paper the best game of all these.
Yeah.
We just talked about this game a little bit. Bartram Trail goes up to Daytona, or down to Daytona. To play in the huge stadium they have down there. Mainland's coming off a win last week over DeLand, so can Bartram Trail bounce back? I'm going to give you the first option.
You're going to throw me the pitch? Well, Mainland, I think, is ranked number 2 in the state, right?
Yeah, they're one of the top teams every year.
Yeah, I think it's enough said. I'm just going to say this. In order for Bartram to win, they're going to have to make a decision on who their quarterback is. They can't play these big-time teams in these close games and not have any rhythm going down the stretch. These games are going to come down to the end. You're playing a state power, the number 2 team. They beat you last year. And so I don't think that Bartram is ready to concede that yet. So I'm going to pick Mainland. They beat them last year. They're going to beat them again this year.
All right. And I would agree with you. Mainland's on a different level. For the last 5 years, if not for having to play a Miami team in the semifinals every year, why they're in the south part of the bracket, no one ever will understand. Mainland is one of the best teams in the state of Florida, so very tough task for Bartram Trail. I'm also going to go with Mainland. A very intriguing matchup taking place in Oakley Friday night. Glade Central traditionally has been a state power over the years.
Yeah, the Muck.
Home of Fred Taylor, the Glade Central Raiders.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll bring a huge crowd. It's going to be a packed atmosphere.
Right.
This one's tough to pick because I don't know much about this Glade Central team. Having seen Oakley play Camden County, Camden is not that great a football team. They lost last week 45-3 to another Florida team. So I am going to go with Glade Central on this page.
Okay, all right. Keyshawn King leads the area in rushing. Surprise, surprise, right? Man, big ups to Keyshawn in that big victory last week, running the ball. But it's going to be harder to run against them boys from the muck, man. They are fast, and they are heavy hitters. So I'm going to pick Bell Glade as well. I'm going to pick Glade Central to win.
Couple surprising teams. Ponte Vedra both was 1-0 going up against Plaka, which is 1-0. Plaka beat Yulee. Ponte Vedra defeated Nice. Kind of equal teams here. Plaka we know less about a little bit, but what do you think? Ponte Vedra or Plaka?
I think Ponte Vedra looked really good last week, and I'm going to pick the Sharks. I think they're going to be rolling until they get to some of the better teams, but I think they'll take down Plaka. What do you think?
It's hard to pick against Coach Toglin. He does a tremendous job there, and he's done a tremendous job wherever he's been, including Clay High and Pass. It's a tough place to play in Plaka. They call it the Pit, old Veterans Memorial Stadium, so very tough place to play.
Look at you with the facts.
Not so fast, my friend.
Oh man!
I think we have our first different pick here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Plaka.
Oh wow!
All right.
You rolled with them last week too, so
small school battle here. Two really good teams, Fort White and Providence. Providence lost to UC, and not only that, but their star tight end, Will Mallory, who's committed to Miami, sat out of the game with a concussion.
oh, wow.
So we don't know if he's going to be back or not. If they don't have him, that makes their offense. They only scored 14 points last week. Fort White is solid on offense and defense. So Fort White beat Sewanee last week. Without knowing if Mallory's going to be in the game, Fort White has way too many athletes for that one.
I made the mistake of picking against Fort White last year. I'm not gonna do it this year, man. They made me a believer last year, so I'm gonna go with them. Let's go Creekside at Ridgeview.
Okay.
Big win between both of these teams, right? We kind of covered that earlier.
I would have never thought this team would have been on this list, but that just shows you how quickly changes.
Quickly changes out here. Ridgeview got a really nice win last week, but I think Creekside had the more impressive win, and so I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go with Creekside.
All right. I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to go with Ridgeview.
Wow. Why?
Their win over Jackson wasn't that impressive because it is Jackson, but I feel like they have more athletes. They have some really good receivers. There's a couple brothers, last name Turners, that play on the team, and Tyler Duff is quarterback. He's pretty good too. So I think it's going to be a very close, competitive game. All right, this one here. It's a rivalry game. It dates back all the way to 1927.
Wow.
They haven't played every year since. They've taken a break a couple times, but it's called the Old Oaken Bucket rivalry.
Oaken Bucket.
Yes, and it used to be an old bucket. Now it's just a trophy.
Now it's just a
because the bucket broke. This used to be a big rivalry, and it still is. But Columbia would say, "Oh well, it's no longer a rivalry game anymore because Sewanee never beat them."
Right.
Columbia's won 9 in a row in this series. Sewanee lost to Fort White last week. Columbia beat Gainesville last week on the road, I believe, and that was a high-scoring game. They've won 9 in a row. It's hard to pick against Columbia. I like Columbia in this game.
Mark me down to I can't go against the Tigers right now, man. They're
all right. And our game of the week, which you will be at, Trinity at Reball.
Yeah, let's pick this one last. So this last one we're picking?
Yes.
Okay. You go first.
Both of them have great defenses. Reball has, I would say, of the two, a better offense. Having seen Trinity play last week. Now, granted, they did play Coco, so you got to take that in consideration. It's hard to think Trinity starts out 0-2, just like Bartram. I just think that Reball's offense is better than Trinity's offense right now.
Oh.
So And I know Trinity.
Are you doing it?
I know Trinity owns Reball.
Are you doing it?
I'm picking the Trojans.
He's doing it, fellas. Oh my goodness, folks. He did it. He did it. Not so fast, my friend. I'll just say this. This game is gonna be big. Everybody is really talking up this game, but I don't think it's gonna be as close as people think.
This is gonna be a Sandalwood Reball game.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, of course, you saw Trinity in person, and I didn't. But I did see Trinity in the spring. They can really move the ball, and I like Trinity in this game. I think they're just going to be too explosive. I think they're going to make adjustments from last week. I think they only lost because they played a perennial state power. Reball is not a perennial state power right now. I think Reball will be hyped for this game, but Trinity's going to take care of business. Mark it down.
If they can't run the ball, they will not be successful Friday night. Because they could not run the ball at all against Cocoa. And granted, Cocoa's a good team.
Gus is catching it for keep running the ball, so I mean he's going to air it out.
We're not picking these games, but there are a couple more games we want to mention. A couple rivalry games.
Yeah.
We got West Side and Lee, which is the oldest rivalry on the West Side. Bernardino Beach goes to Hilliard. St. Augustine and Menendez, and Clay and Middleburg, which is the oldest continuous rivalry in Clay County. Also, Parker Fletcher is another, and First Coast and Reigns are some other of the big games on Friday nights. Maybe Jackson ends the streak against Inglewood. We'll see.
Inglewood looks pretty good. So who knows about
They
that,
lost to
man?
Paxton.
Well, Paxton's pretty good too. So
You say so.
check out DuvalSports.com for more previews of the games that are coming up. We have a whole week to schedule lined up for you on the website. We'll be back for our next segment. We're going to talk about some middle school next.
Oh, yeah.
Right here on the Press Box Show.
We're with our Week 1 Player of the Week, Liberty Pines star athlete Eric Weatherly. He plays many positions. He's a man among little boys. He scored 5 touchdowns last week. He had a pretty decent game last week. What were some of the
Against
highlights
Murray.
you remember?
Some of the highlights were our defense did really good. Our offense started out slow, but when we picked it up, we started
I
going.
saw some couple short runs. I saw some couple long runs. Which one sticks out in your mind the most?
I think the pick six.
The pick 6? Okay, so you score on defense too.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sweet. All right, so 5 touchdowns.
So
First
now-
game of the year. You come back game 2, and you score 3 more touchdowns. 8 touchdowns in 2 weeks. What's going on, man?
I'm just feeling it. I want to ball out my 8th grade year. I want it to be memorable.
All right, let's go back a little bit to when did you first start playing football?
I first started playing at this part for the Creeks Outlaws
At what age?
at 8.
8 years old. Okay. Have you only played here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No other place, no other. All right. So obviously you played here. So, so you got one more. This is your last year of middle school. Do you know what high school you're going to yet?
It's probably going to be Bartram.
Bartram. Okay. All right. Which is good because good tradition of running backs there. Well, let's talk about Pop Warner. Let's talk about your success there. What was it like there?
Pop Warner. Well, when I first started off at Pop Warner, I didn't really like it, but I just kept playing. And then one year we clicked and we went all the way to Disney. So I just kept playing after that.
Were you on the 2013 national championship team?
2016.
16? Okay. Can't read that far. All right, that's cool. So you won a national championship.
Yes, sir.
What was that like?
It was amazing.
Yeah. You got a ring and everything, or you got a
Got
okay.
a jacket too.
Oh, sweet. Okay. All right, his name's Eric Weatherly. He's in 8th grade. Plays quarterback, plays running back, he plays safety, kick returner, punt returner. He might even punt too. He never leaves the field. Go check him out, Eric Weatherly, Liberty Pines.
We're doing some middle school now, so let's recap some of the games that happened last week. Let's start with St. Johns County. Big time game down there, number 1 versus number 2. Gamble and Swiss Point.
Swiss Point was still is the defending county champions, having won the championship last year over Landrum in the county championship. So in the rankings, I had Swiss Point number 1 because they are the defending champions. I felt like Gamble Rogers was the number 2 team. So I battled it 1 versus 2. And how great was that? We had him play the first week of the year. Great game. Early on, the game was back and forth. Swiss Point actually had the lead. Gamble tied it. And really the game wasn't decided until 3rd quarter. Gamble just has too many weapons. It's more than just Aaron Wynn. King Bedford, the quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a la Cam Newton. I mean, he can take off and run himself.
He can, yeah. Really
They have multiple weapons. They can throw the ball. Swiss Point has, one really good player, and they're still trying to figure out who their other weapons are. So, Gamble with the big win over Swiss Point, 29-6, to start the season last week. Number 2 takes down number 1. Also, we had number 3 Fruit Cove take on Valley Ridge. That game was over at the half. BJ was there tweeting out the games. I believe I got their score. It was only halftime score, but I believe Fruit Cove ended up beating Valley Ridge 48-6. An easy win for Fruit Cove there. Liberty Pines played Murray. It was 48-18. Landrum defeated Sebastian 20-8. And then one of the other upsets was Patriot Oaks beating Cassetti Bay 28-14. So we had a couple upsets. Now we go into week 2, which
I told you Patriot Oaks had some talent out there.
well, that was surprising, talking to some of the coaches that were at the games the other day, that they were surprised that Patriot Oaks was able to beat Cassetti Bay. So now we move on to week 2, which starts today. The game of the week for this week is number 3 Fruit Cove going up against number 5 Landrum, and that's our game of the week. Also, that's a 5 o'clock game, and then right after that we've got Liberty Pines, which I've got ranked number 4, going up against Valley Ridge. Valley Ridge I have number 9 in the rankings. That's at 7 o'clock. We also have Sebastian and Gamble Rogers, Murray and Cassetti Bay, and then on Thursday we have Patriot Oaks taking on Swiss Point over at Durban Creek Park. The rankings, which switched after this week, I thought I printed that out, but maybe I don't.
All right, you can go to DuvalSports.com and check it out. But Gamble Rogers is
I know Gamble was number 1.
Fruit Cove number 2.
Right, Fruit Cove number 2. Swiss Point
and Swiss dropped to number 3. So
yeah, because I mean, they lost to Gamble Rogers, so I felt like, yeah, they lost, but you can't drop them down too far because they did lose to a really good team. So
you can go to the website to check out the other teams that are ranked in the Duval Sports St. Johns County Middle School Football Top 10. Let's move on to Clay. We had a big game last week. Clay got started. Again, number 1 versus number 2. I think everybody's following the whole Alabama, Florida State.
It's funny because in Duval we're going to have the same thing too.
We're going to have the same.
We're going to have Fletcher and Gilbert play.
Yeah.
So all 3 counties, number 1 versus number 2.
Number 1 versus number 2. They're doing that. So you were at that game. Just recap. Really some really big plays. A big time player was scoring early for Lake Asbury, right?
Yeah, Lake Asbury jumped out to a 14-0 lead. They did a lot of ball control. Because they knew that Oak Cliff has a high-powered scoring offense, and I heard their coaches say, I don't care if we gain 2 yards every play, we're going to kill that clock. And so that was their mentality, was let's score and put all the pressure on them by killing that clock. We kill that clock, that shrinks the amount of offensive plays that Oak Cliff has. So they jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Right before the half, Oak Cliff scores and cuts it to 14-8. Third quarter, Oak Cliff comes back, actually ties the game, and nobody can kick extra points. They go for 2, and they miss the 2-point conversion. And so it's 14-14 in the fourth quarter, and with like about the halfway point with like 4 minutes to go, Lake Asbury scores again and wins the game 20-14. Great game. Especially, there were a couple of guys who stood out in the game. The kid, the running back number 8, Ray, he had 2 touchdowns, and the tailback for Oakley, Outlaw, I think it was Eric Outlaw or something like that.
Yeah.
Devin Outlaw. Devin Outlaw had 2 touchdowns. One was 55 yards, and the other was 85 yards.
Wow.
So he's a firecracker. When he gets to the edge, he's gone. And number 8 for Ray for Lake Asbury, he's a big guy. He's like bulky, kind of power. He's a power runner.
Yeah.
He will run you over.
Wow. Let's recap some of the other Clay County scores.
Low-scoring game. Bradford defeats Lake Butler 6-0. That's kind of a rivalry game in their neck of the woods. Lake City comes up to Orange Park. We had Lake City on the media day. They opened their season with a 46-8 win over Orange Park.
Yeah, that team is the real deal.
And Lake City killed Orange Park last year, so Lake City's really good. So that's a team to look out for. One of the surprise games of the week. Small school Keystone goes on, plays Lakeside, and Keystone wins 20-14. And another upset, Wilkinson beat Green Cove 24-2. So we had a lot of upsets in Clay County action as number 1, number 4, and number 5 all went down, and 6, 7, and 8 all won.
There is parity in Clay County, so you definitely want to go check out those games over there. Go also check out the rankings that Corey's going to put up. We're going to have some Clay County rankings, football middle school rankings up there on DuvalSports.com. Private school, I got a chance to.
I got a couple private schools
to check out University Christian. They defeated Fernandina Beach 44-12 last night. University Christian has lots of weapons. Let me tell you, lots of weapons. Their big time weapon, Arthur Fats is what they call him. Arthur Walker. Oh man, 2 touchdowns, one on a busted play, gone. You know, he's been doing that since youth football. Now he's doing it at that level, but he doesn't have to do it all by himself this year. Even though he's in the 8th grade, Terrence Ford, the quarterback, he tossed a couple touchdowns, scored. Also, Larry Edwards also scored for University Christian. They've got some playmakers, and they play Trinity next week, so Trinity better watch out. Trinity, of course, didn't have a game,
right?
But Trinity Middle better watch out, man. UC is coming for them.
A couple other scores passed on real quick. Episcopal defeated Providence 44-30. Episcopal now starts season 1-0, and Baker County, which defeated Charlton County a couple weeks ago, 32-0. Lost last night at home to Swanee, 19-12 in a really good game with back and forth. So Baker County is now 1-1.
DuvalSports.com. We're here with University Christian Soldiers 10U player Javon Johnson, our Duval Sports Player of the Week. Javon had an amazing game against Gainesville. Javon, how are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Great. So we're going to talk about this great performance you had this week, being Player of the Week. You had 2 touchdowns on the offense. Let's talk about that. You play fullback and you play tight end. Talk about the first touchdown.
The first touchdown, I was like, yeah, I'm going to score. And then I scored. I was like, yes, I scored. Then the second touchdown, I was amazed that I scored 2 touchdowns.
How do you feel when you're breaking tackles and heading towards the end zone?
I feel good. I feel like nobody can stop me.
Now, you also had a great defensive game, too. You had 3 tackles for loss. You had over 10 tackles. What position did you play?
I play linebacker, Sam linebacker.
How do you like playing that position?
It feels good when I tackle people. It's good.
Now, you started playing when you were 6, 7 years old, right?
Yes, sir.
What position were you playing then?
Right tackle and D-line.
You were a lineman star now.
Yes, sir.
So how do you like now that you are able to run the ball? Tell me how that feels to be able to start as a lineman playing football, but work your way up to show coaches that you could run the ball.
It feels good. It feels like a good feeling, working hard and proving to people that I don't have to be on the offensive line and be running back and run the ball.
How do you feel like you're going to play for the rest of the season?
I feel good. That our team's going to do good and everybody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our Duval Sports Player of the Week, Javon Johnson of the UC Soldiers. Congratulations. We're back here on the Press Box Show here at Zaxby's. We're so thankful that Zaxby's allowed us to do our show here, Corey. Man, our last segment, gotta talk about youth football, right? We cover youth, middle school, and high school sports. They've had their jamboree a couple of weeks ago. They've had their practice game. Now it's time to strap it up. Now it's time to go live. This one counts, right?
It does. And you definitely want to get off to a good start. Definitely want to. Pop Warner doesn't play that many games as the middle school and the high school, so you definitely want to win that first game and kind of set the tone for the rest of the year.
So let's talk about Pop Warner. Of course, one of the area teams went all the way last year. Sweetwater. Do you feel like Sweetwater, the park in general, is the team to beat in Pop Warner, and if so, why?
Because they've proven it. I mean, they've won a national title at every level. They just reload. And yes, those kids from the national team are now playing for Trinity. Or most of them are playing for Trinity Junior High. I actually learned the other day that one of them is playing in Orange Park Junior High. So, well, they didn't get every single kid. And Stewart and Jeff Davis may have gotten some. But, I mean, until someone else proves it otherwise, Sweetwater is the best park in the area. And they're always, on every level, they will always be the team that you circle on the schedule. We want to beat those guys.
Well, I can tell you some parks who have circled them. You have their neighbor, Westside, has definitely circled them. Normandy has circled them. Look for Normandy to be pretty good. You have Forest View, who's always a power. Lakeshore, right around the corner. Lakeshore had a team that won the city championship last year, so look out for them. But Grand Park, look for them to really make some noise this year. Of course, Grand Park is known for their championships as well, back in the day. But look for Grand Park to have a successful year 2 in Pop 1.
And they say that you can say this about every level. Everything happens in cycles. I remember when I was younger and my friends played Pop Warner, it was always Lakeshore. And Westside was okay, but it was always Lakeshore versus Grand Park and the big city championships in the Gator Bowl. And it seems like Grand Park has been able to keep that tradition going and consistently was always in the mix for one of the playoff spots and as far as going to the big Pop Warner Super Bowl. But I would say, do you agree that Grand Park is the second best park in the area?
Man, you put me on the spot.
Hey, that's how you roll with me.
It's hard to like currently. You're saying currently or historically?
On all levels, yeah.
Currently, I would say they are probably. I would give them third currently, but historically, I think they're probably first or second. I'm gonna give them historically.
Who would you say number 2 then?
Second.
You say 3.
Yeah, I would give them second right now. Currently, I think Forest View. Forest View is really good the last couple of years, from top to bottom. Some really good talent, but they've lost a lot of talent there. So, a lot of kids are going on to play middle school. So this year will be a kind of a pick-em year for everybody. Even some of the other teams, Mandarin, Creeks, Ocean Wave, the BYA Bulls, Pablo Creek. So some of these other teams that are in Pop Warner have a chance to really establish themselves.
Which ones we had on the show last year that wore the blue and the gold? Was that North Jacks we had?
Not blue and gold. You're talking about not North Jacks. North Florida.
North Florida.
North Florida. Yeah.
They seem to
North
have a really
Florida.
good team last year.
Yeah, look out for them. Yeah, look out for them. All of those Mighty Mites. I think they're either have one more year of Mighty Mite or they're moving up. So
Speaking of Mighty Mites,
it's a good team.
I did hear that the game of the week this week is over on the West Side Park. West Side's going to be playing Graham Park in week 1 in Mighty Mite action.
Wow, that's gonna be a big one.
And there was already a lot of trash talk on Facebook about it.
We've got some other leagues in youth football, so we're just going to mention them a little bit. In the St. Johns River Youth Football Conference, University Christian moves from Pop Warner, goes over to that conference. That's a conference where they're going to play the FLA Vikings, the Star Ready Gators, lots of teams like that. The Wolverines over in Woodland Acres. So lots of unlimited weight teams in that division. Of course, Star Ready, that's Seattle Phases, league over there. So really big time over there.
We forgot the best team in that league.
What's that?
Traditionally, it's always been the best team in that league.
What's
MOT.
that? Oh, MOT. Well, I don't know if MOT is in there. MOT kind of floats, a little bit. So I don't know if they're in that one anymore.
Okay.
But we have the AYF. That's another one that is big in Jacksonville.
Cardinals.
Yeah, the Raw Cardinals are one of those. The Duval Seminoles were there. The Argyle Spartans, were another team. But I'm gonna tell you, in St. John's River Youth, you want to look out for the Ocala Pride. They're always retooling. They've got live talent. So that part always produces really good teams. So
What's the league?
really some good ones.
There's a league also with all the clay teams, Nassau, Jacks Beach,
Oh, that's a Pop Warner.
Oakley,
Yeah, yeah, that's D3. They have some really good
Callahan,
Pop Warner.
Fernandina, Yulee are all in that. Jacks Beach is in that.
Lots of great action in youth football. Of course, we try to cover it all, but we can't. So what you can do is you can go on Facebook, go to our Facebook group. It's called Game Time, right? It's a new group on Facebook. Search it and post your pictures, post your scores, post your favorite moments and videos of your local youth football or any sport, high school, volleyball, whatever you want to do. Go ahead and post there in the group and leave us a message on duvalsports.com.
Most importantly, post the score, but then also tell us, hey, my son scored 3 touchdowns this week, because if you do that, he just might be our player of the week.
He just might be, but we're gonna fact check. So don't. Cause we got some parents be like, oh yeah, my son scored 10 touchdowns.
Of course, we're gonna make phone calls and verify.
We're gonna fact check. So, all right. Thank you so much once again for joining us here at Zaxby's. Thank Zaxby's again for the great hospitality. We can't wait for our live show that's coming up, where we're gonna invite players and coaches and celebrities. We're gonna invite them to our live show, just like we did last year, right?
You just never know, my show. We might even have some Jaguars.
Some Jaguars show up, man. Yeah. Well, hopefully they're getting ready for this game. So all right. Tune in next week for the First Walk Show.